Hi everyone. Good evening. How are you guys? Am I audible? Can someone tell me if I'm audible? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, yes, yes. Perfectly fine, guys. So, shall we start? Before we start, can someone summarize what we have studied yesterday, what we have discussed yesterday in one or two lines? Can someone just brief it? Just brief it, guys, what we have discussed yesterday. Framing a research question. Because Okay, retrospective. Yes, retrospective also we have studied, correct. Definitely. Research gap. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Types of studies, guest report, research gap. Okay. Yes, fantastic, guys. Yes, yes, yes. That's what we have uh studied yesterday, what we have discussed yesterday. Okay. So now that means we have started doing the research, right? I mean, not started doing the research, but we have started thinking of the research, isn't it? We thought about the problem. We thought about how to frame the question out of the problem. And we talked about the research gaps, like what are the research gaps we have to find out. And based on that, we have to frame the research question, right? So now we have come to the research question. When we have the research question, what next after the research question? If we have the research question, what we have to do the next, guys? What do you say? What we should do the next? Any idea what we have to do the next? Literature review. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, literature review. Okay. Then anyone else? You start collecting data. Oh my God. Aims and objectives. Okay. Aims and objectives. Find the gap. Gap we found yesterday, Vikram. Right? Guide. Plan to work. Okay. Someone is told here plan to work. See, we just got the questions. We still do not have any plan with us, right? How to do it. We have done the market research. We have done market research here means that we know how to take, what to take and all, which kind of population we will taking and lot of, studies we have done, lot of market research we have done. But we do not have a solid plan with us. So now we have to plan it. Now we have to plan the research. So how to plan the research? How actually do we plan the research? Can someone tell me how do we plan the research? Protocol. Selection of the topic is done yesterday. Parshuraman. Yes, selection of the topic question is done yesterday, right? Framing the question is done yesterday. Okay. So now next is how to prepare a document with the solid plan, with the perfect planning. Okay. And that document is nothing but the protocol preparations. Okay. See, research gap we found yesterday. We found the problem yesterday and we got the question out of it, right? We got the question out of it. We discussed all the scenarios. But now if we want to go further, we have to make a proper document of the process, of the plan. We have to plan our research, and that research planning is called as protocol writing. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the protocol writing, and then the next phase is once we have the protocol writing, usually, we need the ethical approvals and interventions. So we have to learn about the ethical approval and interventions, right? Definitely, review of literature is one of the part now, but I mean, the review of literature is a big subject. So there is a specific, what? There is a specific class on review of literature. Okay, so I mean, we have the next week we have the class when we are talking about the writing the paper and writing the research. That time we'll be discussing about the review of literature, how to review the literature, how to find the literature stepwise. Those things you will learn next week, right? So today we are going to talk about protocol writing, right? So let me share the screen, guys, and just confirm if you are able to share. Please confirm. Guys, please confirm. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Perfectly fine. Right, 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 right. Great. So let me just make it full screen. Mm, okay. Cool. Right. So we are going to talk about the protocol writing and consideration, ethical considerations. A lot of new things are there, a lot of questions are there. So let me understand again how much do you know about the ethical articles, okay, ethical approvals and the protocol. So can someone tell me what is the objective of protocol, or what are the objectives of protocol out of this? Can someone tell me? Guys, please tell me what are the objectives of protocol. Yes, guys. What is the answer? What's the correct answers? One, two, three. What is one, two, three? Okay. Six, six, six. Main aim of study. All of the above. Five, six, one, two, three. Okay. Five, one, two, three, five, one, two, three. Okay. Most of you are telling that the answer number five is correct. Answer number five is correct. What will you do? Objectives of the protocol is what will you do? What it should be done, I mean, why it should be done, and how you will be doing it. Okay. And the fourth is what you expect will be your result in the protocol, right? So, guys, tell me one thing before we discuss this completely. Tell me what is the answer number one? What do you think? Like, why? I mean, this why, what, and how, like what you will do will be covered in protocol, where the answer number one will be covered in the protocol. Tell me. Come on, fast. I know why many of you have written the protocol. Methodology. A lot of wrong answers. Aims and objectives are the correct answer. What will you do means your hypothesis, and based on hypothesis you will be doing the aims and objectives. Okay. What you will do means aims and objectives, what you are going to do. Okay. Why it should be done means what? Why it should be done means what will be the why it should be done? Yes, guys. Need of the study, potential benefits. Yes, absolutely. Need of the study, potential benefits, research gaps, hypothesis, again rationale. Yes, what it should be, I mean, why it should be done is rationale or research gap, or yes, definitely need of the study, right? Yeah, so you guys know where you guys know very well. Yes, not future perspectives at all. We don't write future perspectives in protocol at all. Okay. Then how you will do is what in the protocol? Yes, guys. How? Methodology. Okay, fantastic. You have the answers for everything. You have the answers for everything. Perfect. Methodology. What you expect will be your result. Is it the part of protocol or not? First question. No, 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 no. Yes. Okay. So who is saying no can justify it. Why it's not required? Yes, guys. Do we write our expectations or not? Anticipated outcomes. Outcomes of the study. Definitely, we should write the outcomes of the study. And that's what is exactly called as hypothesis. We hypothesize something that we are going to expect from this, this study, we are going to expect this. We are expecting that drug A will be better than drug B. We are expecting from our study that the drug what we are testing will show some positive results. Understand? We are expecting some, like negative outcomes in the smokers against non-smokers. So that kind of expectations are called as hypothesis. Okay. And those hypotheses are the must part of the protocol. So answer is what, guys? All of the above. You understand? What you will do is aims and objectives. Why it should be done is, you know, this is aims and objectives. Aims and objectives, right? This is what? This is what? Again, the gaps. This is what? Methodology. Okay. And this is what? Hypothesis. Hypothesis. Okay. So these are the important parts of the protocol. Now tell me, sponsor details come under the following section of the protocol. This is the check for all of you. Checkmate. Yes, guys. Sponsor details. Sponsor, let me tell you the sponsor. Sponsor is the person or the organization or the company who funds the protocol, who funds the study, who funds the clinical trial or who funds the studies, clinical studies, like, maybe that is pharmaceutical company or ICMR, DST, DBT, NIH, NH, anyone, any organization or any person, maybe the NGOs, whoever will be funding you, your studies to get conducted smoothly are called as sponsor. Okay. So tell me, sponsor details will come under which section? Everyone is telling study agreement, annexes, methodology, general information. Okay, methodology, you guys know. What is annexes, guys? Can someone tell me what is annexes here? Annexes. What is annexes here? Who knows about annexes? Primary, standards, corrections, all wrong. Till now, all the wrongs. Sri Vidya is telling patient documentation form, instant consent form, informed consent form, and all. Okay, so whatever additional documents, whatever supportive documents we are submitting with the protocol are called as annexes. Okay, whatever supporting documents we are submitting with the protocol are known as annexes. Okay. R oh, Gina Mary Thomas. IRB IEC letter. Is it annexes? Array, we are applying for IEC only, then we want other papers, documents to be submitted with protocol. So IRB or IEC letter cannot be the annexes at all because we have not received or obtained the ethical approval. Yes. Okay. We did not obtain the approval yet. So we are applying for that. So how IRB and IEC letter will be the part of it. So usually, let me tell you guys, that's how we teach. That's how we learn, right? So annexes could be either ICF, informed consent form. Annexes could be either your patient information sheet. Okay, so ICF, patient information sheet, and annexes will be case report form. Annexes could be any kind of questionnaire. Okay, whatever you are using. Okay, annexes could be any kind of MOU with external, facilities like the colleges or the research labs or anywhere. Okay, those could be the annexes, and annexes could be also the CVs of the faculty members or part of these people. So whatever additional documents usually whatever additional documents, this doesn't come sometimes under the annexes, but whatever is additional document which is supporting the study, if you are using those attaching to the protocol, are called as annexes. Understand, guys? Okay, clear? Legal acceptable representative form, yes, it could be. Absolutely, it could be. Okay, so here, let me tell you. Okay, you got an access. What is an access in the protocol? Now, this another thing you will see here is, okay, another thing you can see here is something called study agreement. Study agreement is the agreement between the sponsor and site. Okay, or maybe if there are CROs, right? So, and PI. PI is the site. PI is the site here. Okay, PI represents the site. Site is either the clinical research center or the hospitals, anything, right? So PI represents the site. Okay, and sponsor. Usually, what happens is the big companies, they create the clinical trials and they hire the CROs to conduct the entire clinical trial. So CROs then select the site. Site means the hospitals, and they select the PI also, right? Okay, in the KMC they selected the, like, if the study is in the cardiovascular diseases, studies in the cardiovascular drug, then they will select top 10 hospitals in India or top 15, whatever number of sites they want, and then top doctors, and they will make them investigator in the site, right? So there is an agreement between the site and the sponsor. Like, you will give us 100 patients, we'll give you this much money, this much data will be coming, this much data will be given back, and you will be getting this much of the amount of the drug or something, whatever, everything, risk, benefits, compensation, everything will be written in the study agreement. Okay, duly signed study agreement is mandatory between site and the CROs, or site and the sponsors. Then only the studies are being conducted. Understand? Now, methodology, what's the part of methodology? Then the first part comes here is general information. Okay. Nobody has answered that. For this question, like, sponsor details comes under following section of the protocol, is the answer here is general information. Okay. Answer here is general information. So general information is what? Before protocol, usually I'm talking about the standard protocols, not the student industry, not the student protocols. You guys submit anything to the ethical approval, they usually give you the approvals. But I'm telling you, when you are doing any funding research, okay, any kind of funded research, big research, whether it is a PhD research or maybe sponsor, any kind of sponsored research, if you are doing, then before protocol, in the header, usually maybe in the header sometimes, or before starting the protocol, you have to write the general information, and in that you will be writing about the investigator, grant number, sponsor details, address, phone number. Those things are must in the general information. Okay, I'll be telling you. So the sponsor details come under the general information, not the methodology, not the annexes, not in the, I mean, study agreements will be there. I mean, the details of both the parties, both the stakeholders, or whatever stakeholders, number of stakeholders are there, numbers, details, everything, address, phone numbers will be there. But in the protocol, study agreement is not a part of protocol. That could be annexes. Okay, that could be annexes, one of the annexes. I'm talking about the protocol. Annexes is not a part of the protocol. Annexes are attachment to the protocol. Understand that statement. You have to understand, guys. Annexes are not the part of protocol. Those are attachments to the protocol. Okay. And similarly, study agreement is an annexes, not the part of method. I mean, part of protocol. And methodology will never have the sponsor details, because methodology will show the entire process. Okay, so understand. And then, so the answer remains is general information. Got it, guys? Next thing here is inclusion criteria includes following all. except. So answer me, guys. Yes. Inclusion criteria includes following all except one thing. Four. Four. Similar. I mean, it's very simple. Answer is fourth. Okay, answer is fourth, investigational drug details, because the inclusion criteria will not have the drug details here. It will have the medicine details, like what medicines the patient is on. Okay. What are the specific types of diseases we are taking in the patients and we are involving them into the research, right? And what are the genders we are involving? So can someone tell me what is exactly the inclusion criteria and why we need inclusion criteria? And in the protocol, is this a part of methodology or not? Tell me if the inclusion criteria is part of methodology, yes or no. Answer, guys. Yes, yes. So what is inclusion criteria? What is inclusion criteria, guys? So let me tell you. Inclusion criteria is nothing much, but it is a very important information, means what kind of population, you remember the word population, what kind of population you are involving in the research. Okay, so population means what? Population, so how we will describe the population? See, population is a normal population. You cannot take the normal population into every clinical trial, right? So there are some specifications. Okay, there are some specifications in the populations, right? Like first thing, gender. If you are taking only male, female, or both. Okay. Age group is very important. Age group. If it is pediatric or adults or older people, like elderly people. So you have to define everything, and then a specific problem. Like I want to take only the heart failure patients into my study. I want to take only CKD patients into my study. So you have to think about these parts. Okay. And then the people who are not involved in further clinical trials and they are not taking any other clinical drugs. Okay. And you must be very specific what kind of drugs you are giving, what kind of drugs they are taking. So you must be very careful what to be excluded and what to be included in the research protocol or inclusion exclusion criteria. So inclusion exclusion criterias are the important key of the protocol and any research. Okay, so it tells us what kind of population we are involving and what kind of results we are going to get. So it tells us about the restrictions what we are putting in the study. So see, we are not wasting the time, we are not wasting the money on everyone. So we are targeting a specific population. Okay, so that's how we need the inclusion and exclusion criteria. So inclusion exclusion criteria, I mean, it has gender, disease specifications, therapy details. The participant is already on. So the remaining part here was the answer, investigational drug details, right? Question number 4, very important, guys. Gantt chart depicts what in the protocol? Yes, who will tell me Gantt chart? Yes, guys, Gantt chart. Tell me what is Gantt chart? Yes, Gantt chart. Answers, please. 3, 3, 3, 4. Okay, someone is telling 4 also. Carol, why 4? Why 4 for Gantt chart? What is Gantt chart? First of all, guys, tell me what is Gantt chart. Yes, I'm sorry. Now I'm comfortable. Timelines. Timelines, absolutely. See, so the answer is timelines. So the Gantt chart is nothing but it distributes it distributes the entire duration of the project, entire duration of the clinical research, whatever the duration of the project is, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, it will distribute that into short timelines according to what? According to, according to what? According to tasks, right? Suppose someone has to do the clinical research, and he has to, take the ethical approval. He has to collect the patient, he has to follow up the patient, he has to analyze, he has to report, right? So it will, they will do it clearly. Like now, I want, I mean, within 6 months, first 6 months, I'll take all the approvals and I'll start the study. Then next 4 months, I will, next 1 year, I'll collect the data. Next 1 year, I'll follow up the data. Next 6 months, I'll take for analysis and publication, right? So you will distribute and you will, make a proper chart for that with the detailed timelines. Okay, that is nothing but Gantt chart, and Gantt chart is very, very important part of the protocol which depicts all the timelines. Okay, right? So answer here is timelines. What? Sorry, timelines. The answer is timelines. I think by mistaken, I kept it expenditure, but Gantt chart is nothing but timelines. Okay, let me make it correct. I think this was wrong. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So Gantt chart is this. Last question. I mean, no, questions are over now. Let's discuss about the topic what we are going to discuss today. Okay. What is research protocol? So we have almost, done half things. So research protocol is nothing but a document which provides a detailed description of the intended study. Detailed description of the intended study, like how it will be done, when it will be done, why it will be done, where it will be done. A lot of questions will be answered through the protocol. Lot of questions, almost all the questions related to the entire project, entire research will be answered here in the protocol. That will be the entire plan of the project. That will be the complete plan. And according to the protocol, only the full research will be done. The complete research will be done according to the protocol only. Understand? Then outline of the entire research process that gives a summary of the project. Definitely. So it will tell you the entire process, as I told you, like from answering the question why, how, where, when. You understand? Why, how, where, when, and who will do that also you can include who will do. So everything will be in the protocol. That is the outline of the entire research. This is a document that provides a detailed description, and objectives of the protocol is usually what you will do. And we have discussed that what you will do means aims and objectives, why it should be done, gap, problem, how you will do it, the entire methodology, what you expect will be the results, outcomes, or hypothesis. Understand? Then basic components of the research protocol. Can someone tell me, can someone write in the sequence what could be the basic components of the research protocol? Can someone write fast, fast, guys? You have 1.5 minutes. 90 seconds to write what are the components of the research protocol. Mm, introduction, background, okay. Yes, introduction. What next? Objectives. Need of the study, introduction, aims, objectives, background, aims and objectives, methodology. Yes, so introduction, objective, justification of the study, methodology, sample size, site, results, potential benefits. Okay. Nice work, guys. So many of you know, you must have written the protocol. So here, first of all, there'll be the title of the project. Okay. Title of the project, whatever question you have framed, make a good title out of it. And there, or maybe the question itself. Okay, maybe the question itself. Limitation is not a part of protocol at all. Okay, limitation is not a part of protocols at all. Okay, yeah. Otherwise, good. Title. First of all, title. Then what? Abstract. Sometimes summary is needed in the protocol, sometimes not. Okay. Sometimes abstract or summary is needed. Okay. Sometimes abstract or summary is needed. Sometimes it's not required. Okay. Then general information. After title and summary, general information, right? After title and summary, general information. General information, as I told you, if there are sponsors, stakeholders, anything, you have to write about them. General information. Then the introduction part comes. Introduction is what? You have to write the introduction or background. See, background or introduction is only one thing. You don't have to write two parts. Okay. You write either introduction or background. It's the same thing. Okay. So introduction or background is like when you are doing a literature search. When you are doing a literature search or review of literature, you get the information about your topic, related to your topic, and you get some important message, get some important information, sorry, and make the introduction. What is the introduction? Suppose I am working on the heart failure. Okay, I'm working on the heart failure. Suppose I'm working on the diabetes, easier one. Okay, and I have to write the protocol for diabetes, and like suppose very simple, I'll make a very simple title for the example here: utilization of calciferol, that is vitamin D, right? Calciferol. So utilization or the importance of calciferol, vitamin D in diabetes patient. Okay, in a tertiary care center, we are using that. So we'll check high or low vitamins and the outcomes in the results. So that is a question. So here the part introduction is when we are talking about vitamin D or calciferol and diabetes patients. So we will talk about first about a little bit diabetes. What is diabetes? Then what is the magnitude of the diabetes in India or wherever you are doing? What is the magnitude of diabetes in the world? Magnitude means the percentage. Okay, percentage, epidemiology, the prevalence, incidences. And then you will make a problem statement. Okay, in the introduction, you will make a problem statement that in India, we do not have the studies related to calciferol use of, I mean, the importance of calciferol in this. Okay, and this was done. I mean, you will take a reference and you will just write the statement, problem statement. Understand? First, so introduction is a very systematic way. Background is very systematic way. This is nothing just a, this is, not like a paragraph only. You cannot think that this is just a paragraph. Not at all. It is like the entire information. You understand? The introduction will be the entire information in 4 5 lines, maximum 100 words, 200 words. Usually in our university, they ask for 100 words, right? So 100 to 200 words. So what will be the introduction? First, about the disease, about the problem, and then magnitude of the problem, and then the exact problem statement, what you are going to do. And then the solution statement. Solution statement is this study will be performing, this study will be performed in this population to get the data related to calciferol and diabetes, and we will be analyze the data to check the importance of calciferol through this process. Done. Maximum 5 7 lines or one paragraph, 200 words are enough for introduction and background. Okay. After that, it comes the review of literature. So that's why I'm telling review of literature and introduction are different things, but introduction and background is same thing. Now you can write review of literature in 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, maybe 500 words, 300 to 500 words, whatever is asked by the protocol, whatever is asked by the protocol. So this is a sequence: title, abstract, general information, introduction, and then review of literature. Questions or hypothesis. Now, after review of literature, what is your hypothesis? It comes with the gaps. Okay, it comes with the gaps. So you will write the gap first. You will write the problem or the literature gap. I mean, the gaps, research gap you have found, you found from the literature. And then based on that, you will create a hypothesis. Like our study will be resolving these issues, whatever are not available in the market or whatever are not available in the literature, like the calciferol related studies in diabetes are not available in the these things, and exact amount of calciferol and all those whatever objectives you create based on that, whatever gaps you find, based on that you can write the hypothesis or the problem statement here. Okay, so this is how it goes in the sequence. Then aims, like aim or aims, is usually only one. Okay, aim is usually one. So you will create like to assess the importance of the calciferol in diabetes patients in this population. So what you will do is, this is just a aim. So aim is very clear, like you want to check the importance, but how you want to check the importance, okay, in diabetes patients, how you want to check that. So to do that you need some objectives. Okay, to do that you need some objectives. Objectives are nothing but the questions, but those are what? Those are stratified questions, let me tell you. Okay, those are stratified questions. Let me write here, stratified questions. I'll tell again, hypothesis. Stratified questions, like aim is only one, and then we will make one, two, three, or like we call them primary objectives or secondary objectives. Okay, secondary objectives. One more thing is very important, you guys have heard or not. Committed objectives and non-committed objectives. Okay, committed objectives and non-committing objectives. Non-committed objectives, right? So suppose I'll explain this. This is very important, guys. Okay, what is aim? Aim is nothing but when you are putting the entire project in one question. Okay, like my project was to assess the health resource utilization and drug optimization or drug review in heart failure patients. Okay, through the registry studies. Okay, through the registry studies. So that's one thing. The objectives, if I stratified objectives, could be first objective could be to characterize the heart failure. Characterize the heart failure means we are getting all the data related to heart failure, and we are talking about, okay, this is heart failure, this is, that this much percentage of this heart failure, this much percentage. We are talking about the epidemiology, we are talking about the classification, we are talking about all these things, the epidemiological, what are the comorbidities, and all the things will be done in the characterization. Okay, what are the drugs being used and all. Then the second thing is health related quality of life I can add. Okay, in that, then I have added, as my aim said, that drug utilization review. So I can add another objective, that is only drug utilization review in the heart failure patients. Drug utilization review means you are checking out how much drugs or how much resources, the healthcare resources being used, how many ECGs was done in one patient, echo were done, how much oxygen he has used, how much ICU bed he has used, how much ward bed he has used. So multiple things are there, right? So you can stratify your aim into two or three or four objectives, whatever is required, whatever you can done within timeline, whatever is done to, whatever is feasible to done. Okay, so you can just stratify your aim into three or four objectives. Okay, in three or four also, you can keep one or two primary objectives and two secondary objectives. So prime focus means the primary means the focus. Your focus will be completing the primary objectives first, and then secondary objectives. Okay, secondary objectives are not directly related to your aim. Secondary objectives are not directly related to your thesis. Those are the part of thesis, but if you are not doing it, those are not involved, those are not that important. Okay, similarly we can even classify our objectives into committed and non-committing objectives. Okay, committing and non-committed objectives. So committed means we have to do it compulsorily. Like if I have to do a project within 3 years, then within 3 years I have to complete those objectives. Okay, compulsorily. That is committed objectives. Non-committing objective means I have written something else, like if I got time, or if goes everything goes good, I will perform this thing also. I can do this also. Okay, that is non-committed objectives. Some are committing objectives, some are non-committing objectives. Committing objectives are compulsory to do. Non-committing objectives are optional. If you have time, you do it. If you have funds, you do it. If you don't have funds, don't do it. If you don't have time, don't do it. Understand? So that's how we go to objectives. So you understand, guys? Title, abstract or summary, general information, introduction or background, review of literature, hypothesis, aims and objectives. Someone was asking what is hypothesis now, right? Let me tell you. So hypothesis is nothing but what we are expecting from our results, what we are expecting from our study. Okay, what we are expecting from our study, right? I'm expecting after giving, like you are doing the efficacy study for any drug, right? So what you will be your hypothesis, you will be hypothesizing like drug A is good drug, and it will show the proper, it will show the positive outcomes in this disease patients. That is your hypothesis, like you are expecting, right? If it is failed, or I mean if it fails, or gets success at the end of clinical trial, doesn't matter. But in the protocol you have to write the hypothesis, and hypothesis comes from the gap, literature gap, I mean the research gap from the literature. Like somebody is saying that, okay, efficacy study of drug A has not been done, right? So you are expecting, I'm testing this drug A now, and I'm expecting that drug A will be showing the positive outcomes. Drug A will be showing the positive outcomes. Okay. That's the hypothesis. Hypothesis means you are expecting something and you are writing the expectations in the protocol. That is hypothesis. Someone is asking if the title and aim is different. Totally up to you. Title can be catchy. Title is not necessary if you write. Usually when you write the title of the protocol of a study, definitely you need the title with, like, starting with your objective, like assessment of health resource utilization or measurement of this and this. You have to write that title. Okay. Aim and title could be similar, or maybe some words would be different sometimes. Okay, like sometimes catchy, non-catchy. So it depends. Okay, title and aims, I mean, title and aim could be one also. It doesn't matter. But what's the difference between aim and title is a formal part. Okay, I mean, title is a formal part. So there, I'm sorry, I think I'm telling you ulta. Okay, so title is informal part. Okay, let me tell you. Yeah, title is informal, and aim is formal. So whenever we write aim, we start with to study, to assess. Okay, that cannot be I mean, that cannot be written in the title. Title will be like, if you it is study, so studying this, assessment of this, measurement of this, right? So the only difference between title and objective is formality and informality. When we are writing an aim, that would be formal, like it should be starting with, we are doing it to study, we are doing it to work on, to measure, to assess, right? That's how we write usually our title, but I mean aims, but we don't write our title like that. Understand? That is the difference. So next thing is methodology, right? Now the main thing is methodology. So methodology itself is a big thing. Okay, methodology is a big thing. I'll discuss in the next slide. Okay, then plan for analysis of the result. Analysis of the results means what type of tests you are going to perform. Like if it is an epidemiological study, I'll just do some demographic, I mean, I'll just do the maybe the pi tests, or maybe the little comparisons, or just the frequencies. Okay, if it is the incidence and prevalence study, epidemiological studies, I just need to do the frequencies. Okay, frequencies and percentage proportions. Okay, but if it is a comparatory study, I may need to go for what? I may need to go for the high-end statistics. High-end statistics means, like, uh, maybe the survival analysis, or maybe the ANOVA test, independent t-test, multiple other things. So based on your project, based on the aims and objectives, and based on the title, you have to decide, and you have to write what kind of tests you are going to apply in that. Okay, in the plan of analysis there is sample size also. I mean, sample size is the part of methodology, but plan of analysis, you have to write what type of tests you are applying. Okay, done, guys. And then bibliographic references you will keep. References for review of literature, what you have written in the review of literature, you will give in the bibliographic references. Then Gantt chart or timetable, you will prepare a Gantt chart. I'll show you the Gantt chart. You will prepare the budget if it is a funded project, or non-funded also. Sometimes you need the budget. or sometimes you have the budget. So prepare the budget and attach the annexes. Your protocol is complete now. Your protocol is complete now. What type of references style mostly is used? Okay, so there are multiple styles, but what usually are used is, first is APA, okay, then MLA, then Howard, okay, then Vancouver. These are the major referencing styles. First is APA. APA is nothing but American Psychiatric Association. American Psychiatrists Association. This is the first and one of the wonderful referencing style everyone uses in the world. Everyone. Okay. Then the Vancouver came. Okay. Vancouver is another style. Then the Howard and then the LA. MLA. Okay, MLA is also one of the league association. Okay, so they also proposed their own bibliography. There is nothing differences. Okay, these are not having much differences. Only like someone has written the year first, someone has written the volume of the article first. So only the few differences, okay, nothing big. Okay, someone proposes only the name of three authors before the title when you are writing the bibliography, I mean, when you're writing the reference. Some are allowing every author to be written in the bibliography. Okay, so it depends, like whatever you are using, there is not much differences. Everyone is standard. Okay, everything here what I have written here, APA, MLA, Harvard, Vancouver, all are standard. Okay, all are standard. But what usually the international authors, international researchers use is APA, Howard, or Vancouver. In that, if you want to rank me, I can rank first is APA always, second is Vancouver, third is Howard, fourth is MLA. Okay, so always try to use standard one, APA or Vancouver. Okay, always try to use the standard one, APA or Vancouver style. Okay, so let's discuss one by one. Title of the project, as we have discussed yesterday, it should be concise, descriptive, informative, and catchy. Okay, then it should be clearly indicating the independent and dependent variables. Dependent and independent variables are what? Okay, independent and dependent variables are what? When you are writing the title of the any protocol, what you will write? Assessment of, suppose I'm writing assessment of healthcare resource utilization. Let me justify this. Assessment of healthcare resource utilization. Okay, healthcare resource utilization. So indicate independent and dependent variables. What are variables? When we're talking about healthcare resource utilization, it includes doctor's visit, fees, times, everything. It includes like whatever resources you are using, ECG, echo, CT scan, ICU, oxygen, medicines, whatever you are using, right? And the third thing in HRU is patient related factors. Patient, whatever time the patient is in the hospital, he is not going for the job. The caretaker's job, patient caretaker's loss, and the food, travel, everything. When we talk about HRU, it includes everything. So in that, what is dependent directly, right? The doctor's visit fees and hospitalization, oxygen ka kharcha and all are direct, right? Are direct dependent factors on the patient and the disease. But the caretaker, patient's job, those are not dependent factor. Those are independent variables, right? So similarly, there are thousands of the variables what medicines are doing. Everything is there, right? So, it should clearly defined. If I'm telling assessment of HRU means concisely, it is telling what independent and dependent variables. We cannot write in the title that we assessing the doctor's visit, ECG expenses, ICU expenses, oxygen expenses. We cannot write that. So we write in the concise form, but it should clearly indicate. Only just the indication we need clearly, right? Then should provide the keywords of classification and indexing of the project. What is classification? Classification is nothing but the study type. Okay, what type of study you are going to do? Cross-sectional studies, case control studies, cohort studies, randomized control trial. Usually we write at the end of the title, or sometimes we say in the title itself. Okay, should include information about what population will be investigated, that we discussed yesterday also. Like in the heart failure patient, we are doing this assessment of HRU in heart failure patient. So heart failure is your population. It is simple, right? Title. Now, general information like the protocol title, protocol identification number, if any, name and address of the sponsor or funder, if there are available, then name and title of the investigator, who is responsible for conducting the research, and address, telephone numbers, CV responsibilities of each would be in the general information. Names and address of the clinical laboratories, as I told you, external technical department, institutions involved in the research. So all the information related to the stakeholders will be coming under the general information. Understand, guys? Now, background information. As I told in the introduction, I told you background information, topic area, research question, and significance of the knowledge, magnitude, and problem statement, and how you are how you are giving the solution. So solution statement will be the major part of introduction. Then literature review includes known information about including topic, the lacunae. So I mean, you know how to search. There are the specific keywords. There is a specific class also we'll take. Specific keywords we use. Okay, or sometimes the mess words. So this is for everyone. This is for everyone. Okay, whatever type of research you are doing, you need the literature search, literature review, and for that you need the keywords and mess words and other things to get your, interesting papers and the most relevant papers. So most relevant papers you need in that. Okay, most relevant papers you need in that. So reader knows this much, and once you search the literature, once you filter out, there are something very few which you really don't know, but you have to understand when you are doing a literature search, when you are doing a protocol writing, or when you are doing a research, you must even know whatever you don't know. That's why we do the literature search. Literature search is important to understand whatever we don't know. Okay, then aims and objectives. So these are the specific steps will you take, you will take to achieve your aims. So aim is what of the research, and objective is how we are doing it. So I have described already. What means the entire research will be summarized in one title. Okay, the one question, like to assess the health related quality of life in these patients in this tertiary care center, right? Now, how you are doing, you are stratifying your aim into different objectives, different questions. Like in the first question, you are checking out the clinical characteristics. In the second question, you are doing this, you're doing this. So this is about clinical part. Let me take you to one of the technical study, or the study which the pharmacological people do usually, or some of the other pharma people, or anyone, So there are multiple studies. Okay, there are multiple studies. Suppose I'm working on a non-clinical study. Like suppose we are checking the physical characteristics, physical characteristics of troponin T. Troponin T. Physical characteristics of troponin T is what? Physical characteristics of troponin T is there is a chemical and molecular weight and all, but how the molecules look like, how the molecules work, how the molecules are attracted to each other, how the protein bonds are attached to each other, right? So there are a lot of things. And what are the changes in the troponin T in different myocardial infarctions, different disease portions, right? So those everything will be like characterized through the physics model, through the maybe the mass spectrometry, or maybe the light spectrometry. Maybe there are different instruments how we do it, right? So when we are talking about those things, like this is the aim. Our aim is to quantify the physical characteristics of troponin T taken from the heart attack patients, or taken from the myocardial infarction patients from this hospital. That is our aim. Okay, but when we come to the objective, this will be using of mass spectrometry to characterize the protein bonds in troponin T, or the reactions between the, or maybe, to assess or to quantify the changes in troponin T structure in different myocardial infarctions. So the objectives are how you are doing it. See, aim is just a one question, what exactly you're going to do. But the objectives are how. How means you're quantifying through the mass spectrometry. You are quantifying this protein bonding. You are checking out the changes, spectra of the troponin T in different myocardial infarctions. So whatever studies you are doing, either that is technical, regulatory affairs, animal studies, whatever you need to purpose, you need to quantify, and you need to, stratify your aim into multiple objectives. Understand? So research objectives are nothing but the goals to achieve the aim. Objectives should be definitely logical, coherent, feasible, realistic. Definitely we have discussed the smart, and defined in the operational term that can be measured, and phrased to clearly meet the purpose of the study. Okay, so that's how we define our aims and objectives. Okay, study design, there are multiple types of study design, case studies, cohort studies, and first of all the observational studies. So how to define how to classify this study, I'll just tell you. I mean, you all know that, but how to classify those studies if you're talking about the epidemiological studies. Okay, so there are two types of studies majorly. One is observational studies. One is experimental studies, right? Experimental studies comes, with all the clinical trials, randomized, non-randomized, okay, and community clinical trials and all, whatever interventional clinical trials comes under the experimental clinical trials. So analytical, experimental, or interventional, all three terms are same. Okay, in the studies, in the clinical research, in the research studies, experimental, interventional are the similar words, or the analytical studies. Okay, these are the similar words, these are the same words, depicts the same type of studies. Then the observational studies comes. In the observational studies, there are multiple types like case report, case series, cross-sectional studies on one point of time, then case control studies, then cohort studies are there, right? So these are the observational studies where you don't need the intervention, where you don't need the experiment to be done. Okay, so these are simple observational studies, right? So there are multiple study designs. Okay, and I mean, that is type of studies what we are talking about right now. Okay, type of studies. Okay, so we have to mention in the study design and the, what kind of study you are going to do, whether it's a case report. I mean, not you cannot you don't need the protocol for the case report anyways, but whether it's a cross-sectional study, case control study, cohort study, or randomized control trial, non-randomized control trial, you have to mention it, guys. Okay, you have to mention it. Then the research population or sampling frame. Research population or sampling frame is you have to keep the sample size. How much sample size? There are different formulas to check the sample size. So why do we need the sample size? This is important. Okay, so we need the sample size because we want the validated results. Okay, based on the literature and by the calculations, by the formulas, by using SPSS or Stata, or R software, or multiple softwares are there. You can use any software to check the sample size. There are multiple software. So why we do the sample size is just to validate our study. Like, okay, this is statistically given number in which I have to do the study. Okay, so importance of the sample size is validation, and why it is like the specific number, because based on the population what you give, based on the power of the study you give, based on the literature search you give the number something, based on that it creates, or it comes up with a number. Okay, that number is feasible to do within the timelines, that number is validated. Okay, so there are multiple things how and why we need the sample size. So if it is sample size, then definitely you have to talk about the intervention if it is interventional study, or whatever the observational type you are studying, like I'm giving some new drug, new extract, or whatever. Okay, or maybe the comparison between genders, male and female, comparison between age groups, or I'm looking for efficacy of the drug, whatever treatment group, intervention, or observational arm you have to give. Inclusion exclusion criteria I've discussed already. Then withdrawal criteria you have to write. Withdrawal criteria means like how the patient has to withdraw from the study. I mean, though patient has 100% right to withdraw anytime, okay, patients have 100% right to withdraw from the study any time at any point of time without giving a reason. Okay, without giving a reason, and expected duration of the study will come under the study design. Now the methodology, I mean, study design methodology is almost similar. I mean, not almost, almost similar. These are similar things. Okay, let me tell you. Methodology itself has multiple things to do. Methodology is a part of protocol, but in the methodology, what you will do is you have to write a lot of things. Okay, you have to write a lot of things. Let me tell you what you have to write exactly. First thing is study design, as we discussed. Okay, study design. Then study site, where it is being done. Study site. So you will write Department of Regulatory Affairs, this College of Pharmacy or this College of Medical Sciences is involved, and this is, or maybe this study is being conducted at Department of Pharmacy Practice, Manipal College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, or whatever, study site. Or if it is a collaborated, then this study will be done at the Department of Cardiology, Kasturba Medical College, Manipal, in collaboration with these sites. Okay, you have to write the study site, study duration. Okay, study duration, how much duration of the study has, maybe 3 years, right? So you don't have to write just 3 years. 3 years mean you have to write 1 year for data collection, 2 years for follow, right? Like that. Okay, study site, study duration. Then the third thing, I mean, the fourth thing is comes as population. What population you are using, like heart failure population with this age group, this not age group. Here it comes with inclusion and exclusion criteria. Inclusion and exclusion criteria. Okay, then the observations, what you are doing, observations or the parameters observed. Okay, guys, parameters observed. Like what kind of parameters you are observing? Like demographic details only, medical details, or the medication details and procedural details, social habits, everything, whatever you are going to discuss, you have to write in the parameters observed, or you can write here the case report form is attached. You have to prepare the entire case report, though you have to attach the case report form, but you have to write also the case report form is attached to the protocol, and all the parameters will be observed. Okay, and then in this only the statistical analysis will be coming. Statistical analysis will be done following tests. Okay, test names and which software, SPSS, which version you are using, those everything you have to write in the statistical analysis. And additionally you have to write ethical considerations. If there are animals involved, the approval will be taken from the ethics committee of animal ethics committee, or human beings are involved, then ethics committee of Kasturba Medical College or whatever medical college will be obtained. The ethical approval will be obtained from this. I mean, you cannot write that it is obtained. You don't have to write the the number of ethics and all, nothing. You just have to tell that these things will be obtained. And if any kind of intervention is there, you have to write this drug will be given in this quantity for these many days, and this questionnaire will be applied. So the entire method, entire process will be written in the methodology and materials. Okay, study design, study site, study, and in this, if there is any sample size, you have to write about the sample size also. Okay, so these are the part of methods and materials: study design, study site, study duration, sample size, population, inclusion and exclusion criteria, parameters observed, and statistical analysis. And if any intervention, those things will be written here. Okay, those things will be written here, right? So first, overview of the approach, then data collection, data analysis, interpretation will be, the entire thing will be written here about data collection, how we are collecting, what kind of data we are collecting, how the data analysis will be done, and how the interpretations will be done at the end. So those things I have written here, right? So these are the things, these are the steps, and these are the, the components of the methodology in, in the protocol, any protocol. Then Gantt chart. Let me come to the Gantt chart. So Gantt chart is nothing but the timelines. Okay, this is very important. Okay, this is very important part of any protocol. So this is an overview of tasks, proposed activities and a time frame for the same, right? You put weeks, days, or months at one side and the tasks at the other side. You draw fat lines to indicate the period of task will be performed to give the timelines for your research study. Like what? See, quarterly timelines, you can write even here June, July, August, September, August, November, and then you can fit those things. Like first, it will be done for isolation, like first 4 quarters, quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, the isolation and characterization of the adipose tissue stem cells will be done. Then induction of hyperglycemia and transplantation of stem cells in diabetic mice will be done from quarter 5 to quarter 7, 3 quarters. Then estimation of serum insulin content and intraperitoneal glucose tolerance test will be done in quarter 8 and quarter 9. Then hepatology and compilation of the result, histopathology and compilation of the results will be done in quarter 10 and quarter 11. Then paper presentation and publications will be done in quarter 13, 14, whatever. Okay, so you have to prepare it either in the days, months, or whatever, but you have to prepare it. This is a mandatory part. And why it is mandatory, I'm saying, why it is very important, because it gives the commitment. Okay, it shows your commitment, enthusiasm, and discipline. You understand? It is not, why it is necessary to put is that it will give the impression of yours in the mind of whether those are funding agencies, whether those are ethical committee people, like, oh, this person is organized, right? This person is organized, this person has discipline, enthusiasm, right? So main thing is you are organized and committed here, right? So it shows the commitment. So always whenever you are writing a protocol, whether it is a student protocol, 6 month protocol, 1 month protocol, or 1 year study or 10 year study, you should make the Gantt chart. Okay, then the last thing comes is budgeting. So budget translates the project activities into monetary part, like how much budget we need for anything, whatever is required. Okay, so like here, designing the prototype, procurement of the antigenic peptides, and perform the quality analysis, procurement of animals, 19 lakh 90,000. 7 to 9 months, you have to give the dates also, like in which date how much budget you required, in first year how much budget is required, second year how much budget is required, third year of the study how much budget is required. So you have to keep all those things. Okay, you have to keep all those things, like here, year wise budget, year 1, year 2, year 3, and total, right? Year 3 and total, right? You can see here, like year 1, year 2, year 3. So see, in first year, consumables 14 lakh. In year 2, consumables 2 lakh 50,000. In third year, consumables 5 lakhs. Travel 50,000 each year. Equipments, only first year you need the equipments of 3 lakhs. Then rest in 2 years, you don't need any equipment. Contingencies 50,000, 50,000, 50,000. Other cost 0. Overhead charges will go to the institute 25,533. What is the total expenses of first year? 18 lakh. Third year, second year, 3 lakh 65. Third year, 6 lakh 25. Total expenses of the study is 28 lakh 26,600. Okay, and here in the consumable budget details, the stem cell culture expansion and stem characterization study of animals and all will be done is 21 lakh, right? Travel budget details 50 lakh 50,000 per year for conferences, workshops, seminars, presentations. So this budget, just the these are just the stratification of this table. Okay, these two small tables are the stratification of this big table. So this is how you do the budgeting. How much is consumable, how much is travel, equipments, contingencies, other cost. And if you need, if you are a researcher, if you are a faculty member, you can always, if you need, you can ask the salary. You cannot ask your salary being the investigator. You can ask the salary of research associates, research assistants, or research coordinators. Okay, if you want to hire someone, you have to write the research coordinator salary also. So include in the budgets and then go for the budgeting agency, right? So this is the specific thing for when you are writing the grant, when you are going for the budgeting. Okay, when you are going for the, to take some funds from sponsors, when you are submitting your project protocol to sponsor, budgeting is the important part. Okay, budgeting is the important part. Dependent variables are okay. Yeah, Mohit. Sir, what should we do if because of some issues we can't follow a part of the Gantt chart and it resulted into not able to cope with the following part of the chart? Should we take the extra time to skip or missed part? Yes, see, we have to. Then we have to, deviate the protocol. That term is called deviation of the protocol. Like if you're not completing in time, sometimes we have to either, you know, reduce or cut down the sample size to make it up to time. Okay, sometimes either we make to the less funds, or if we are doing 5 tests, we cut down to 3 tests. Like that we, look into, we do some specific changes in the protocol, but we cannot just directly go, right? We have to fix that thing and then we can do. And if it is non-doable means if you cannot cut the budgets, you cannot cut the, test, or you have to do everything, then you have to extend your time. You have to take the extra time and do it. Okay. You have to take the extra time and do it, right? So that's how you go for it. And now the budgeting is done. So now next thing is annexes. Okay, annexes, I told you, interview protocol. I mean, the protocols could be there, informed consent form could be there, cover letter could be there, official letters, permissions, MOUs, questionnaires. So that we have discussed already. Now let's come to the ethical considerations. Okay, so guys, when we come to the ethical considerations, first I have some questions. Okay, I'll give the answers itself. So first tell me, when do we need the ethical approval? The first thing comes in our mind is, when do we need the ethical approval point of time? So tell me, now it is your turn. I'm opening your mics also. Next 20 minutes, we'll close the class. We'll close the class by sharp 8 today. It's fine. Okay. So I'm unmuting you all, right? So if you want to speak, you can speak also. Okay, so ethical considerations. Exactly what point of time in the flow of process you need the ethical approval? Tell me, guys. Yes, answers are required from everyone. At what time exactly you need the ethical approval? When human participation is involved. Oh.
Uh,
So
may I
Mira,
answer, sir?
asking the question is very important. See, first question is very, read it. Point of time. Point of time. When you need the point, this point of
Sir,
time.
can I answer?
Yes, Dr. Nancy.
Once we are done with the protocol formations and before starting to take the subjects in the study, in that time we take an ethical approval.
Absolutely right. So, see, guys, ethical committee approval is something what you have to take before data collection, before the involvement of any patient. Okay, involvement of any human being or animals, whatever type of ethical approval you are taking, before approval, you cannot start your study. You understand that very clearly. You should not start the study before getting the ethical approval if you are involving animals or human. Understand, in any kind of study, you should not start the recruitment of the patients into the study before you, get the ethical approval. So ethical approval comes once you are done with the protocol, once you are done with the questions, problems, and you are ready with the protocol. Go to the ethics committee, go to the ethics committee, submit it, and get the ethics committee approval, and then start the research. Okay, human participant is the answer, but answer of the next question. Okay, answer the next question. Ethics, see, there is definitely ethics committees are made to protect the humans' integrity and their safety, from the clinical trials and from the clinical studies. Okay. So tell me the next, when do we need the ethics approval? Which type of study design? Yes, guys. Which study design we don't need the ethics approval? Tell me. All type of study design. Carol is telling all type of study designs. Experimental do we need or we don't need? Acha, first question is, don't be confused. Case reports, case series not needed. Yes, absolutely. Case report, case not needed. Retrospective, see, as I told you, if you are involving the human information directly, okay, if you are using the human information directly, then you need ethics approval. Okay, then you need ethics approval, whether those are retrospective or prospective. It is better to take ethics approval in all the studies wherever you are involving the human beings or human participants. Observationals also, you need the, whether they are observationals or experimental randomizations, whatever, you need the ethics approval. Vishnu Priya is telling no need for retrospective. See, guys, why you guys are telling. There are few statements in the Google. Okay, if you are not aware, or maybe you are aware, you are telling me, you're justifying that, the ethics approvals are not required for retrospective data because it is written at many places in the Google. I have seen. See, there are three things, very important, two, three things you have to remember. If any retrospective data which is involving the human beings and data related to the human beings, whether characteristics, disease characteristics, or whatever, you need the ethics approval. Okay. People say that if the data is anonymized, you don't need the ethics approval in retrospective studies. Not at all. Okay. This is the clear rule. Those rules, whatever you are studying, are controversial. Some countries have that rule that in the retrospective studies where data is anonymized, you don't need the ethics approval. But in India, according to DCGRI, I mean CDSC or DCGI and our ICMR, it is mandatory to take the ethics approval if you are doing any kind of data involving human beings, whether those are retrospective or prospective. Understand? So please take care of that. Okay, please take care of that. It is required. Okay. Yeah. So what I was telling is, yes, case reports, case series, you don't need the ethics approval. Okay. Otherwise, in all case control cohort, all randomized control trials everywhere, you need the things. Okay. You need the ethics approval. What are the important documents for ethics approval submission? Can someone tell me? What are the important documents you need at the time of ethics approval submission? Protocol, fantastic. Information consent, yes. Protocol, information consent, yes, 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 yes. And CRF, yes. Very important documents. Fantastic, guys. Okay. So you need all the documents, whatever is there. Okay. First thing is protocol, CRF, case report form, whatever data you're collecting, informed consent form, it is okay. See, so there is a, there is no need of ICF in retrospective data. That is important. That difference you have to understand. In retrospective data, you don't need informed consent form. That you need only in the prospective studies. Retrospective studies, you don't need the informed consent forms. You just need the protocol and you just need the what ethics approval, but informed consent form is not required in retrospective studies. Okay. Then here, the collaborations, MOUs, if anything, questionnaires, you have to keep all the approvals, CVs of the investigator, co-investigator, research associate. How much time it usually take to obtain the research ethics approval? In prospective observations, no, in prospective observations, if you are collecting directly, I mean, usually in all the prospective observational studies, you need the consent form. Yes. Yes. In the observational prospective studies, you need the consent form. In majority of the, not majority, almost all the prospective studies, you need the consent form. Yes, because you are collecting the data in presence of the patient. Okay. So prospective observational studies, if you are involving the human being, you need the ethics. I mean, you need the informed consent form. So how much time it takes, guys, usually? Okay, so it's not a, it depends on the ethics committees. Like if you are going to independent ethics committee, it takes around 4 to 6 months. If you're going to college or institutional ethics committee, it takes around 1 to 3 months. Okay, it takes around 1 to 3 months, sometimes 6 months also if you are independent. Then the next question here is it important to take the ethics approval? Guys, last but very important question here. Is it important to take the ethics approval? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Okay, now see, now as I told and as it is written in the prospectus, our brochure, that we have to discuss some case scenarios and exercises. So there are some exercises, next 10 minutes, we'll do those exercises. Everyone has to answer, everyone has to participate, guys. So here is the case scenario one. There are 7 case scenarios. You have to participate in all 7 case scenarios, and these are fantastic case scenarios, guys. Okay. First case scenario is here for you. A pharmaceutical company develops a new drug for treating a rare disease and wants to conduct a clinical trial involving human participants. The question is, do the research organization or pharmaceutical company or researcher need to take the ethics approval? Tell me. And the question extends to why? Yes, why?
Because it is being conducted on human participants, and their right safety is at most important when we are conducting a trial.
Yes, absolutely. 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 Okay. So we need it. Okay. We need it here. The company needs to apply for ethics approval from an industrial review board, from, sorry, institutional review board and ethics committee to ensure the trial design. If the trial design, guys, not only the safety and well-being, that is the first thing. That is the first thing. But not only that, ethics committee's responsibility, responsibilities extend to, they ensure if the clinical trial design, participation recruitment methods, informed consent process, and the risk benefit ratio is ethically sound. If these things are ethically sound, if these things are proper and correct. You understand that? Proper and correct. That's why you need the ethics approval. If trial design, study design, participants recruitment method, I mean their fundings, their travel charges and all, if everything is covered properly or not. Okay. Trial design means, suppose if we are looking for the backward, you know outcomes, if we are having the outcome but looking for the exposure, then we need what? Case control study. But we are writing that it will be a cohort study. We don't know, right? If it is needed, if it is needed to conduct a clinical trial and you are just doing the observational study, so that means you are wrong at the trial design. Okay, you are wrong at the trial design. If it is required to do a prospective study and you are doing retrospective study, right? If you want to do, I mean, if the title requires to do an, survey, and you are doing it the hospital based in a limited number of the patient, then I mean the ethical committee looks into the prospects of all the the your title, like what exactly the title requires, how title goes to the process of the research or the protocol, or the entire process. So they check if the process is correct or not. If the trial design means the process of the research is correct or not. Okay, so they check for that. Case scenario 2 is, researchers want to conduct a study on the genetic predisposition to a certain type of cancer using just DNA samples from the patient. Do the researcher needs to take the ethical approval? And if yes, why? Guys, typical question. Yes. Scenario 2, exercise for you. Researcher wants to conduct a study on the genetic predisposition to a certain type of cancer using just DNA sample from the patients. Do the researcher needs to take the ethical approval? And if it is yes, then why? Yes, you are writing yes because of the DNA of participant. Okay, okay, okay. You are saying yes, DNA samples. What exactly the answer could be? C. The researcher needs to obtain ethical approval to ensure participants' privacy and confidentiality. If the privacy and confidentiality are protected throughout the process, ethics committee will see if the privacy and confidentiality are protected or not, and that informed consent includes clear explanation about the potential risks and benefits of participating. So that's why in this certain case we need ethics approval, because the ethics committee will define the privacy and they will check if the privacy and confidentialities are protected by the researcher or the organization. So data confidentiality will be protected here, and they will see if everything is explained well, focusing on the potential risk and benefits of participating in such studies. That's why we need the ethics committee approval. Understand? Then the next thing is, next case scenario for you guys. A biomedical research team wants to study the efficacy of a new surgical technique in treating the spinal cord injuries, using animal models. Now my question is, do the researcher needs to take the ethics approval, and why if it is? Yes, 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 yes. You guys are writing yes, 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 yes. Why? Patient safety. Appa. Patient safety. Where is the patient here?
So I
Arun, where
think
is the
there is
patient
no need of
here?
taking ethical approval because it is a phase 1, 2, and 3 phase of human trials are not involved in this. So animal models are only involved. So there is
So
no
we
need
don't
of
need, or we
ethical.
need, Aradhya?
We do not need ethical approval.
So I have a different answer, Dr. Ajit. We need
Yes.
the Animal Ethics Committee approval
Okay.
because there we need to tell them in this that there will be the no cruelty on animals and it will be the taken care with the
Yes.
considering humility on only for the research purpose. So
Yes.
as the animals doesn't speak, that doesn't mean you should be cruel on those their on animals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here we don't need the ethics committee approval from the human ethics committees. Okay. We need the ethics committee from the animal ethics committee. Okay. So researchers must obtain ethical approval from animal ethics committee to ensure that the study design minimize the animal suffering, adhere to the legal and ethical guidelines for animal research, and justifies the use of animals for proposed research goals. Understand? This is necessary. Animal ethics committee will give you the approval for this. You don't need the ethics committee approval from the human being ethics committee because you are not using, or you are not getting the participation from human beings, but you need the ethics committee approval from animal ethics committee. Okay. Yes, those will be the, Anushka, those will be the part of protocol, how many number of animals and all you are using. Those are the part of protocol. You will be writing everything in the protocol when you are, talking about the animal models, right? So here you need the ethics committee approval, but animal ethics committee approval, it's mandatory. Okay, guys, so it's fantastic, interesting, right? Case scenario 4 for you. Sociologists plan to conduct a longitudinal study, long-term study on homeless individuals over several years to understand factors influencing their access to healthcare. Different type of study, isn't it? Question is same. Do the researcher need to take the ethics approval? If it is yes, then why? If it is no, then why not? Yes, guys. No.
So,
No.
Dr. Ajit, this answer, what I will say, possibly it is no, but this sociologists are conducting. So, there in the college, I think they need to, or institution, they need to give the this proposal that we are conducting this study, where the questionnaires will be set up and the details will be taken from the homeless individuals. But I am not sure about the ethics committee, but as per my suggestion, ethics approval is not.
Nazia is writing, no, it's just observational studies, dear. I just told all the observational studies, almost all the observational studies, you need the ethics approval if the human participation is there. Okay. Okay. Surveys are not required. Ethics approval, they are telling. No, 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 no. All the answers are no. Okay. Yes, to make sure that their privacy is not interrupted, Carol is telling. Okay. So let's check the answer. The researcher must obtain the ethics approval to ensure the study respects the rights and dignity of homeless participants. Minimize the coercion, ensure the confidentiality, and provides the support services wherever is needed. That's why the ethics committee approval is required. Okay. And this is not the survey studies, frankly. This is like, if you read it, this is not the survey kind of study. I mean, observational study, definitely, but not exactly the survey. Okay. So here, wherever we are involving the human beings, they are homeless individuals. So we have to respect their rights and dignities, and we have to minimize the problems. We have to ensure the confidentiality, and we have to provide the support services if it is needed. Then, so what? We need the ethics committee approval. Understand, guys? Any doubt here? See, it will be clear more. Case scenario 5. Psychologists plan to conduct a study on effects of social media on adolescent behavior through online data collection. Question is same. Do the researchers need to take the ethics approval? And if it is yes, why? And if it is no, then why? No, yes, no, yes, lot of no, yes. I mean, the confusing answers. I mean, a lot of controversial topics I'm getting today. Huh? Now, put your answers, guys. Put your views.
Uh,
Anyone wants? Yes.
I think, as per my perspective, yes, we will need an ethical approval, because again, whenever we are collecting data online, also the person's information we are collecting and we are using it to provide a result or reflect a result. So eventually, an ethical approval would be needed as per my perspective.
Okay. Got it. Anyone else?
So it is an observational study, and only just the mode is changed. Offline and online is there. So it is still an observational study. We do need ethical clearance.
Okay. Anyone else wants to put the put the note here? It is
Sir,
not
I
needed because it's anonymous study. Guys, okay. Yes, yes, someone wants to speak. Please speak. I want to know the perspective from you guys first.
I don't think it is needed any ethical approval because of we don't search for patients and conduct a direct observations or data collections. We are going to send a form and they're going to fill if in cases of we are not going to meet them, right?
Okay. Anyone else?
In this,
I'll tell you if what is correct, ma'am. But first, I'm looking for some more answers, some more very important things. And then even I'll tell you a story also.
Sir, it is not needed because it is type of retrospective study.
Retrospective study, Jyoti. Ayyo. No, it is not retrospective study.
So why? Because here the patient is not available, only the data of the patient is
You
available.
are collecting the data directly from the patient, not the medical records here.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I don't think the like ethical approval is required. I think the psychologist may take the approval prior, ask the through the when they are questioned, like from the date while they are collecting the data, if they are ready to take up this survey, like yes or no kind. They the person itself, they are giving the consent. I don't think ethical approval is required.
Okay. Okay. So, guys, let me
So
tell
I
you.
have a okay. So I have a bit of doubt. If you're saying the answer,
Yes,
it's okay.
Aradhya. Yes, tell me.
So, there's a doubt that psychologists are taking it from the patients, or they are taking it from the social networking sites.
Adolescent, no, 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 no. Involving the people,
Okay, sir.
involving the adolescent behavior. They are taking the perspective from the parents.
So,
Okay,
Dr.
sir.
Ajit, in my viewpoint, this approval is required, wherein we need to say that the privacy and the confidentiality will be maintained.
Yes. Okay, guys. So, see, before going to the answer, let me tell you my perspective and the reality. Okay. I have seen many colleges, even I mean, majority of the pharmacy colleges, where faculty members and students are doing surveys without ethical approvals. Okay. That's 100% wrong. 100%. It is just because Indian surveillance program CDSCO do not have the proper surveillance program. That's all. If they catch you, you will go to jail. I'm very, very sure. Okay. The only thing is that our Indian surveillance program is very lenient. They don't check if you are doing, they just believe you are a researcher and you have done the study. They don't go that much deep to ask you if you have taken the ethics approval or not. Any study which is involving the human beings directly, prospectively, needs the ethics approval, whether those are online, offline, through email, over the call, or sending the Google form. If you are involving anonymously, non-anonymously, remember this term. you need ethics approval. And one day, if you got caught, you're gone. You will be blacklisted. And this has happened. People who just do the surveys, like prepare the Google form and send it to everyone and get this, there are a lot going on. But without ethics approval, if you are doing it completely ethically wrong. Okay. Because it is involving the human beings. You are taking the information directly from the human being. Okay. And whatever you are asking, if they're not telling your name, if they're not telling your phone number, if they're not telling you their email ID, doesn't matter. This is not the personal information only. The personal information is if they are telling how much I'm sleeping, if they're telling how much daily I'm exercising, if they're telling what I'm eating, that is also the personal information. Okay. If they're telling what disease I have, what medications I'm taking, if they are telling you, I have this much, qualification, this is my profession, that is also the personal level of the information. You guys should be very, very careful when you are collecting such data also. Ethics approval is must in online surveys. Very, very must. Okay, let's check the answer. The researcher must obtain the ethics approval to ensure that they have the protocol in place to obtain the parental consent for the minors, because this is especially for this answer. Like, but whatever, if you are doing any kind of online data collection surveys or whatever, you need it to protect the participants confidentiality. And confidentiality is the major word here. Confidentiality is not just that you are not displaying the patient's name or email or phone number. That is not the personal information exactly. That's not the only personal information. If you're telling these 100 patients told us that they sleep less than 7 hours in a month, that is also the personal information of an individual. You understand that? So please be careful. If you got caught, I have seen people going to jail. I have seen people going to jail for that, and they got blacklisted from the universities. I have seen people in India. If you're just thinking and doing it blindly without because I have seen people doing it, still people are like, I want to do some survey, making the Google form, and next day it is circulating in the public. It is just because our surveillance system is lenient. They are not having the proper surveillance system. Okay. We have to take the ethics approval if you are involving the human beings. Understand, whether they are surveys, online surveys, observational. If you are not taking the email, phone number, email, or their name, doesn't matter. If you are charging the personal information in your form, you are accountable to go ethically. You understand that? So I hope today's learning is really good about these last two cases. Okay, 4 and 5. Very, very important. That's why I've included. Question number 6 here is, a clinician publishes a case study about a unique medical condition and obtain written consent from the patient. Now, do the researcher need to take the ethics approval? If it is yes, then why? No. No. Yes, because this is a individual case report. This is the individual case experiences with the explicit consent. So we don't need the formal ethical approval. So as I told in starting also, the case reports or case series, we don't need the ethical approvals. Understand? So this is very simple. Okay. Because as long as the confidentiality and patient anonymity are maintained through the case report writing and you have taken the informed consent form, you don't need the ethical approval, right? You don't need the ethical approval. Last case for today, a little important. Yes. Now you tell me, public health officials monitor the spread of a contagious disease in community and collect epidemiological data. Do the researchers need to take the ethical approval, and why, if it is or if it is not? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Someone has told no. Safina has told no. Why, Safina, we don't need the ethics approval? Can you please tell me? Why don't we need the ethics approval? Okay, let's discuss. Let's argue on this statement. Yes, they might be analyzing the personal data too. Let's argue. Guys, yes, your ideas on this, please speak.
Used for public health, sir.
Used for public health.
Public health.
So it's not required. Okay. Okay.
So, Dr. Ajit, it will be required because we are collecting the data. It doesn't depend whether what type of data is it. We are collecting the data from patients, so it's needed.
Okay. Anyone else?
But these officials are appointed to monitor the disease conditions and spreading these like cases. So maybe they don't need a ethical approval because of they are appointed to their job, right?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Nice. Defense. Anyone else? No, since there might not be sufficient time to wait for ethical approval. Okay. That's not the case actually. We don't do that because there are the fast track ethical approvals also. I mean, if we need the fast, if there are I mean, if there are the cases of endemics or pandemics, there are the fast track ethical approvals. So it's something like an observational study checking the prevalence of the disease. Okay. Anyone else? No, because they are not directly collecting the data, they are just monitoring it. Okay. See, guys, last case what we have discussed and this case are totally different. Okay. Why it is? Because you have not read that. They are not, first of all, see, they are collecting the data. Someone was telling they're not collecting the data, they're collecting the epidemiological data. They are collecting the epidemiological data. But the best part here is they are appointed to do that. They are not researchers and they are not using this data. Second thing is very important. If you don't understand from this, they are not using this data to display for any kind of research purposes. You understand that? They are not doing it for the research purpose. The important take home from this case is they are not doing it for the research purpose. You understand? This is not a research, first of all. If this is not a research, then there is no need of ethics committee approval. So this is just a routine public health surveillance activity aimed to protecting the public health, such as monitoring the disease outbreaks or trend. Typically do not require ethical approval since do not guys, please put off your mics if you're not speaking, if you're not commenting anything.
Sir, I have a query.
Yes, Nancy.
Eventually the data that is collected by health official, for example, if you just consider any health ministry or anything, that
Yes.
data we do use to go or find some research, or like for example, if we go through the COVID, we did find that this many fatal cases are coming and now we need something to prevent those. So eventually that data is going to use for research.
That's not, again, see, there is a difference in the research and monitoring. That's not the research, that's monitoring on the epidemiological data, or that's the monitoring on the public in aspect of preventing or protecting the public benefit. You understand that? So there is, I mean, definitely there are multiple arguments can be done, a lot of things can be done, but here the thing is that is done not for the research, but for some other purposes. Purpose is protecting the public. And we are working in an aspect of benefiting the people here, right? We're just monitoring, collecting the data to monitor it. Suppose I'll give you the example of NIH. You might have heard NIH is the biggest data set in the world. They have all the patients, all the people's data in NIH USA. NIH is nothing but National Institute of Health USA. They have all the data of all the human beings in USA, all the health related data. So, I mean, all the researchers do the research from that database. That is open access, right? That is open access data set for the researchers, for the academicians, or whoever wants to do the public health professionals and all, right? If they want to do certain research, they have to take the ethics approval, and then they have to take the permission from NIH, and then they use that data. But NIH to collect the data do not need the ethics approval, because that is not doing it for their personal research. They are collecting and making a registry because they want to monitor and they want to make the policies. You understand? So that is
Yes.
the major difference in that.
Okay. Understood, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I think in future, if they use the data for any research, they need to take the approvals. No, they're government officials. And I mean, see, if they're doing the research also, if they're doing the analysis out of that data also, they have the 100% right to analyze the data, to give the suggestions. They are not doing it for the research purpose again. They are doing it to maintain the benefits of the public, and they are doing that analysis and displaying that analysis just to make the policies for the benefit of the public. That is not for the research. And if you'll say, sir, I also am doing the research because I want to, do the benefit of our society and public, that is the main motto of the research. But there is a fine difference between the research and the government tasks. Government do not do it for the personal use of research or personal benefits. Researchers have the personal benefits. You understand? They are displaying the data with their name, with some purposes. Okay, but government do not have such purposes, or any, the databases which are government owned, they do not have that aim at all. They don't do it for the research purpose. They are doing it for the policy making purpose. They are doing it for the monitoring purpose. They are doing it for the, protecting the public. Sir, does the sample size play a role when ethics committee approval is needed? Yes, absolutely. So there are two types of, usually the sample sizes. If it is like, clinical trial or cohort study or something, you have to calculate the sample size. But in sometimes, there are time bound studies also. If you want to do the study data collection from January to December, then you can just say whatever number of patients will come, I'll collect that. Okay, so that is the time-bound studies where you don't need the sample size exactly, right? But in most of the studies, you need the sample size for the validation. No, it doesn't matter if your sample size is small or big. If your sample size is coming statistically correct, validated, then it doesn't matter. I have seen the sample size of, 6 patients also, 5 patients also, 10 patients also in genetic studies, in different mRNA, RNA studies. There are the sample size of 5 also, 6 also I have seen. And there are the sample size of 15,000 also I have seen. So it doesn't matter. It's totally up to the strength of the study. It's totally up to the power of the study. Okay. It's not like whatever the number, number usually doesn't matter here if it comes statistically. Okay, guys. So with that, thank you. And if you have not registered for this, our upcoming course starting on Monday, Healthcare Research Guidelines in India. I mean, we are covering these 6 guidelines. You can register it by today. Okay. So all the research guidelines is important research guidelines is I will be completing in these 6 days. New drug and clinical trial guidelines, national ethical guidelines, policy for ethics conduct, human infection, then publication guidelines, laboratory validation guidelines, all we are going to conduct, guys. Okay. If you have not registered for that, you can just register for it. Okay. So yeah, so thank you. And if you're not following us, please follow us on the company profiles and all. So with that, thank you, guys. Now I'm open to the questions. You can, suit up your questions. Please ask the questions if you have any. I think that was a fantastic class again. I mean, a lot of, discussion, and that's how I want the classes, like the people who are interacting and, participating in that. So, yep, I hope you also like the class, guys. Thank you. And tomorrow, Dr. Siddesh will take the class. Yes, feedback form, I'm just saying. That's not the feedback form, actually. That is not the feedback form exactly. That is the attendance form, guys. Okay. That is the attendance form. So I'm sharing the attendance form here for all of you. Please fill that. It is open for next 3 minutes. Okay. Thank you. If you have no questions, then thank you very much. Thank you, guys. We'll see you. Everyone, please fill the feedback form without fail. Interview study and the observational studies both are same. Not exactly. See, interview studies are actually not, interview studies are not what we say quantitative studies. Observational studies are usually quantitative studies. Interview studies are qualitative studies. So they have the different concept. So I'll not say that if these two are both are the same or not. Okay. So these are the different things. Do we need separate consent form for minors? Usually, if the minor is not able to give the consent, then you need the parental consent. And yes, that is different. Yes, that is different. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, I have few queries with respect to this, not this session, but with the particular this course. Can I talk about this here
Yes,
or?
yes. Please talk.
Okay. Basically, I recently contacted with, I mean, with respect to this ICH test as well. My concern was like when before taking this course as well, it was mentioned like it will be weekend classes, and I called you also before that, and you mentioned the same, and some days it
Yes.
might be on Fridays. And but this for ICH thing, the test was conducted during midweek, and I was unable to take up. Like, I had requested for the extension of the time as well, in order, because I
Okay.
was in the in middle of the meeting. I couldn't take up for the extension of 15 minutes, maybe more than that. So it's basically what was my concern was like, even in the future, because of that reason, I couldn't complete, or my response was not recorded, and I didn't get the certificate as well. So my concern was like, even in the future,
No, no,
will
dear.
there be
See,
any
for
such
ICH, usually, okay, I'll give you the answer. So usually we conduct two tests. So for ICH also, my team is planning to conduct another test for whoever has not attempted or whoever were, not able to get it. Okay. So
Okay.
don't worry about that. We just take some time because
Mhm.
the teams need to prepare everything all again, and they really need some time to do it. But I think this is only done once, so the second time test will be done soon. Okay, don't worry. We'll be informing you in prior so you can get the time and do it.
Okay, sure. Thank you, sir. But only my concern was like, I'm attending the classes, and sessions are also going. I mean, it is helpful. Really, it's good. No doubt about that. If this kind of situation arises in between, it will be difficult,
No, usually
like to
these
manage
times,
work and this
yeah,
during the
I,
weekdays.
I,
That was my
I
concern. And,
I totally understand. Even
huh,
in here with us, we are conducting the test twice for almost all the courses. Why it is? Because the many of the students, they are not able to conduct. I mean, they are not able to attempt the test even on the Sundays. So they request, sir, can you conduct it again? So most of the time we conduct the test twice. Okay,
mhm.
most of the time we conduct the test twice, and for this also. ICH also will be conducting it again. Okay, don't worry.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. That flexibility
Thank
is
you.
really helpful, actually.
Thank you, dear.
Okay, sir.
Yes, I'm sharing the link for 1 second, guys. I'm just sharing the link for course. Okay. If you are looking for, otherwise it's in the group already. Okay. It's in the group, but I'm sharing here also. If you want to register, no worries. I hope you have filled the feedback form because we have to close it. Okay, almost 4 minutes over. So yeah, okay guys, take care. See you.